Okay, class, today I want to talk about something that really gets everyone in trouble because of a conflict between Mandarin sounds and English sounds. And it's related to a way that we say certain kinds of sound in English, specifically the sounds that are called stops. That's the p, b, t, d, k, g sounds. The conflict arises because of a misunderstanding uh, between the way that the Mandarin sounds are made and the way that the English sounds are made. So if we're referring to, let's say, the P and the B sounds, and we'll make these in KK, because KK is a phonemic system, we're really using this to refer to all of the allophones, all of the different sounds that we might use to replace a P sound in a word or a B sound in a word. But what I'm going to talk about here is before we really get to the allophone aspect. What we're really talking about here is as stops, how these sounds are made. And really, we've got two different ways to make each of these sounds. So if we list them as IPA, we have two different ways of doing a P. We have what's called aspirated, which means that there's air coming out. And we have the unaspirated, which means there's no air. And a really easy way to feel the difference between these is for a word like this. So if you try to say this word and you take your hand, the back of your hand, because it's more sensitive, and put it in front of your mouth, and you say this word, pin, you will feel a puff of air, because this is actually, and again, we have to use IPA, don't we? This is an aspirated P, the P sound comes out. But if I add just one letter to this word, now say this one, again, hand in front of your mouth, spin. You won't feel any air. And the difference being that instead of an aspirated P, this will be an unaspirated P. However, most teachers in Taiwan that I've run into would actually change this from a P to a B, which is not correct because there is no voice here. It is still a voiceless sound, right? And at the same time, with the B, we have the same kind of thing. You could have aspirated or unaspirated. Why do we care? We care because most students learn that this is equivalent to a B, and this is equivalent to a P. But is that actually true? So if I were to say this and give it the, well, let's use KK just to be confusing. And I would say this, it would look like P. And you would say that this looks like B. But again, is that actually true? Because it ignores whether this is aspirated or unaspirated. And it's even more confusing because there's this vowel sound on the end. There's always a vowel sound in these Mandarin combinations, right? And vowels are always voiced. So somewhere between here to here, somewhere in there, a voice is going to begin. But where does it begin? Does it begin during a B sound to make a B? Or does it begin really right after that, which means that this would be a P? And it's actually the latter that happens. This is not a B. This is a P, but what kind of P? This is actually more like an aspirated P. And this is more like an unaspirated P. Which means this is okay, sort of. But this is not okay. This is also a P. It's merely unaspirated. I want to make a quick note here. If you look at the standard Mandarin phonology, you will usually see that this is mentioned as a P, and this is mentioned as a B, kind of. Now, keep in mind that I'm working primarily in Taiwan, and perhaps in Taiwan it's not quite the Beijing accent, so it might be slightly different. But the phonology also has this little circle diacritic below the B sound. And what does that mean? Well, depending on where you look, this actually might mean voiceless. Well, it's kind of confusing, right? A voiceless B is effectively a P, is it not? But you also might see it described as something slightly different. They call it slack voice. And a slack voice, part of it relates to how open you are in the glottal area. The other part is that they'll sometimes describe it as semi-voiced. So a little bit voiced, maybe, kind of, if you feel like it, sort of. But really in Taiwan, I don't hear this as much as I do hear that unaspirated P. So it will be confusing. From the perspective of our ears, these two really don't sound that different. The voice is still starting too late to really feel like an English B. So this is a lot better to think of if you're actually trying to be closer to the English sounds. So we have an aspirated P and an unaspirated P, and that means that most students never really learn how to make a B sound. Certainly not a B as an ending sound. But B, even as an initial sound, tends not to be voiced enough. It tends to be more of this unaspirated P. So now we're back to the spin where your teachers are telling you that this changes to a B sound. And that is not true, right? They are taking this to be a B instead of the unaspirated P, which is actually what this becomes. So when you are practicing your English, you must make sure that the voice begins early enough and then take into account whether you are doing aspirated or unaspirated sounds. You must always figure out which one you're going to be doing in order to match the actual English pronunciation. Okay, that's it.